Hello friends, I hope you're having a better week than I am. This past Tuesday, my backpack got stolen. Now it didn't contain my wallet or my laptop like it usually does, but the thieves did get my cell phone, my iPod Touch, my Kindle Fire, and all my keys, along with some various assorted sundries. Now sure, there were things I could have done probably to be safer and prevent the theft, but what's done is done, and I have learned a lot in the past week about dealing with the loss and the recovery process. So I thought I'd offer you some tips to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, and if it does, that you can bounce back as quickly and as affordably as possible. So here are my tips, the first of which takes place even before the theft has occurred. If it's already happened to you, I'm sorry, it's too late, but this is the most important step you can take. Almost every single tech gadget you can possibly own has a serial number. Your cell phone, your iPod Touch, your laptop, your Kindle, everything has an identifying number that is unique to that gadget. And you need to record that as soon as you make the purchase. You can't count on it being on your receipt or on register with the vendor or the manufacturer unless you've supplied some sort of additional warranty. And who really falls for that anyway? Warranties rarely, if ever, cover theft. So you need to keep track of the serial number on your own. I use a program called Splash ID, which keeps track of all my web passwords, serial numbers, and anything else I want to put in there securely behind a password so that only I can access it. I imagine that other programs like LastPass or 1Password have similar functionality. These numbers can be found probably, if it's a piece of hardware like a DVD player, on the bottom on a label of the machine, or if it's a piece of technology that has a user interface like an iPhone or an iPod or something, you go into About and General Settings and you'll find it there. Note this number because you can't count on any physical identifying characteristics like, oh, there's a scratch on the screen, or oh, I have the engraving done on the back, because the engraving can be buffed out. And if they put a protective case on your iPod anyway, they'll never see it. So get the serial number and keep track of it because you're going to be using it in all the following steps, including this one. File a police report as soon as you can. If the police are on scene, let them know what has happened. If they are not, flag them down, call them, do whatever you can to get them to the scene of the crime as quickly as possible. Let them know what you lost and what its value was. If you don't have a complete accounting of those items at that time, that's okay. You can call or email the police later with additional information which they will add to the report. Just let them know what you lost and what it was worth and all your contact information. This is essential because you're going to need that police report when you file for an insurance claim. When you go to have stuff replaced, they might waive certain fees if you have an official police report. So make sure you get that documentation down. In my case, the Boston police were able to email me a PDF within 24 hours. And then I followed up with them with the serial numbers and the value of all the items I had. Now, if you have a photographic memory, it's very easy to keep track of what was in your backpack. But if you don't have a photographic memory, then you might not know necessarily what was in there, but get the important stuff down. Like I forgot that I had an $80 bicycle light in there for when I bike home in the dark. I completely forgot. So I emailed them the next day and said, hey, here's a complete accounting. Nothing is too unimportant to include on that list. So if you have keychains or USB thumb drives, figure out what those are worth and email them as soon as you can and get that police report. And like I said, be sure to include the serial number because that's the information that the police are going to use on the rare chance that your materials get turned in. This happened to me a few years ago. My bicycle got stolen. A month later, the police called me up, said they had matched a stolen bike serial number to the one on my report, and I was welcome to come down to the police station and pick it back up. And it was still in great shape except for a flat tire. I doubt that's going to happen with my Kindle or my iPod, but you never know. And besides, there are other reasons to hold on to your serial numbers and police reports like we'll get into right now. If you have homeowners insurance or if you have renters insurance, you'd be shocked at how much it will cover even if it happens outside your home. I have renters insurance, and with a $500 deductible, which means I pay the first $500, they will cover almost everything else. However, this requires that you have receipts for almost everything that you lost. You can't just point them to the Amazon.com product page and say, look, it cost $500, so you owe me $500. They need to know when and where you purchased it and how much you paid for it. So if you bought anything online and you got an email receipt, save that email receipt. I have a separate email address I use just for online transactions, and all those emails go into a folder and I never delete anything out of it. If you do delete those emails, log on to your online account. Amazon.com keeps fantastic records dating back years, if not decades, and you can print out an invoice from any one of your previous purchases. If you don't have those receipts, but you bought it with your credit card, hold on to your credit card statements and find the charge for that particular item and date. If you don't have that, if you paid cash, but you have some sort of membership club like REI, call them and they keep track of your purchases and they will email you the receipt for what you bought in the store with cash, as long as it's connected to your account. So get all that information to your insurance company. They'll have some forms for you to fill out. They'll need the police report. Chances are that the insurance company will not cover anything that isn't on the police report. So make sure the two match up and are as comprehensive as possible. That will get you the money you need to replace your items, because chances are you're never going to get them back. So here's how you take care of that. If you lost an iPhone or an iPad with cellular service, chances are it has a GPS that you can use to track the whereabouts of your equipment. Use it. Give that information to the police. If you're like me and you lost an iPod Touch, then it can only be geolocated if it connects to a Wi-Fi network. And that requires that the thieves bypass my 4-digit lockout code, which you should have one on your phone or your iPod. You can even make it stronger than that and make it a word or longer than 4 digits. In your settings, go to the privacy and lockout and whatever, and you'll find the option to make an even stronger password. But 4 digits is usually enough. Unfortunately, that means that my iPod is probably never going to be connected to a Wi-Fi network, so I can't geolocate it. Nonetheless, go to iCloud.com, and there are 3 options on there. If you have misplaced your product, you can make it make a noise, you can locate it. If you've lost your product, you can make it display a message asking them to return it to you. But if your product was stolen with malice, then chances are the thieves don't care to hear it or to see that message, so you can send a signal to have all the data wiped. Probably all your data was backed up last time you synced it to your laptop or your desktop, so you don't have to worry about that. What you want to do is keep the thieves from getting access to your data, because that is invaluable information and you want to keep it out of their hands. So just send the signal and have it wiped. If your phone or iPod ever connect to the internet, it'll get that signal and erase itself. More important, you also want to call Apple with your serial number and have them mark your iPod or iPhone as stolen. That way, if the thieves go into an Apple store and say, "Oh, I forgot my password, can you help me reset my phone?" They'll be like, "No, that's stolen, it's not yours." So that is a great thing to do, and they'll take care of you. Same thing with your Amazon Kindle. You can go to your Amazon.com account, deregister your Kindle from your Amazon account, and then email the serial number to Amazon and report it as stolen, and they'll take care of you as well. In both cases, you may want to change your Apple and your Amazon passwords just in case. If you have a dumb old flip phone like me, then this is actually pretty easy to replace. I just went to the AT&T store, gave them my phone number, and they gave me a new phone, which automatically deactivated the old one. However, text messages on the old phone were unique to that phone, and I'll never get those back, including from people I'll never see again. So you might want to sign up for something like Google Voice. You can have your cell phone number ported to Google Voice so nobody has to update their address book, and then when people text you at that number, it'll be forwarded to your cell phone, to your email, and to the website where you can download an archive of it. So all your Google Voice messages, all your text messages are saved in multiple locations. Probably I'm one of the few people who still has a flip phone, so this is probably not going to be an issue for many people. Another thing I lost that was connected to an account of mine was my Hubway fob. The Hubway is a bike sharing program here in Boston that you can use to check out a bike, take it for a ride for up to a half an hour, and return it anywhere you want, as long as there's a Hubway station nearby. This ended up being the thieves' getaway vehicle. They used my Hubway fob to go for a 3-hour joyride from the Boston Common to the aquarium. That's just adding insult to injury. On the bright side, it does tell me where they went, and I was able to see that from my online Hubway account. I called Hubway, they canceled the charge for that rental, they issued me a new fob, and they deactivated the old one. However, the other keys on my keyring were even more important. My house keys. I had all of the locks on my house changed because even though they didn't get my wallet, they may have nonetheless been able to identify who those keys belonged to and figured out where I lived. So I changed all the locks. My car keys. I have a Prius. Those are not a mechanical key. They're a smart key that you have to just step into the car and it magically knows you're there. But I couldn't just have a new one crafted at the local locksmith or hardware store either. So I had to have my car towed to the nearest dealership, and they had to reprogram the car for hundreds of dollars. The towing was free, courtesy my auto club. Most people would use AAA. I recommend Better World Club. They give discounts based on your fuel economy, so it's great for us Prius owners. They also offer roadside assistance for bicycles, like the one that I had stolen and then recovered several years ago. If only all stories ended that happily. So that's just about all my advice. Keep track of your serial numbers, report it to the police, report it to the insurance company, report it to the vendors and manufacturers, and then start the lengthy and expensive process of replacing everything you've lost. My iPod was running iOS 6, and they don't sell those devices anymore, so now I've been forced to upgrade to iOS 7, and I'm not happy about it. Like I said, my cell phone had text messages I'll never get back. That keychain was one I'd had since high school, which was longer ago than you think. So there were a few things in there that are irreplaceable, but fortunately the majority of it, even though it'll cost 4 digits to replace it all, insurance should cover most of it, and it is replaceable. It's just things. And I'm very grateful that thieves did not accost me directly and rob me. That would have been awful. It was just stuff. It was just a backpack. I went to REI, bought a new backpack, looks exactly like the old one. So I'm very grateful that I'm okay and that I'll recover from this hiccup, and I hope that it never happens to you, because even if it is just a bump in the road, it's one that nobody should have to drive over. So also remember that if you have the opportunity to take somebody's backpack, please don't, because the minor benefit you'll get from it, an iPod that's locked that you can't use, keys that mean nothing to you, is completely disproportionate to the amount of inconvenience and expense that the other person will experience. So be excellent to each other, party on, and may you never experience theft or robbery. Be safe. Thank you.